Hey there. Sean Balint with you here.
Hey, it's me, Louis Anderson.
Anyway, Kim Dangerfield, a friend of mine, said, you should do movie reviews on YouTube. And I thought, you know what, Kim, you're onto something. So I've talked about it for months and months and months. And finally, I thought, you know what, let's do it. I'll talk about a movie that was, I would say, a pretty significant disappointment. And it shows at the box office that it's a disappointment to a lot of folks. And that is the second Pacific Rim movie, Pacific Rim 2, I believe, The Uprising. I held off. I didn't think much of the trailers. I was kind of tipped off by those trailers that this movie was going to be take advantage of the first movie in the franchise, run the sequel out there, take the fast cash, we'll make this cheaper than the first movie, and you go from there. So Pacific Rim 2, here's the sad part of it all. Number one, the plot for this movie is brilliant. It's a brilliant plot device. You know, a lot of sequels have just a really rushed piece of writing, a real rushed plot concept. This movie had a great plot, and you know, characters went in a different direction. It was interesting. Now we go from a movie where you had Mr. Elba, you had Charlie Hunnam, you had a great cast for the first movie, and that movie did a great job of painting this really gritty, tough world. I mean, you really felt immersed in that Pacific Rim world, like, oh gee, this is man's last stand, and woman's for that matter. This movie didn't have that grit. It's like, hey, we won the war, we got nothing to worry about. I get that. I get that they're trying to paint the picture of complacency, but you never felt the struggle, and you really can't make a movie like this without a lot of CGI, but, you know, in the first movie, those Jaegers, they almost had a human feel. They almost felt like those machines had a soul. That was really lost in this movie. Youth will be served. A bunch of young, whiny-voiced kids, impulsive, and doing the movie cliche of playing on one line over and over again. There's the protagonist, this young, rough and tumble girl who makes her way through the Jaeger program despite being a little bit of an outlaw. And then there's a tall girl who keeps playing on I'm big, you're small. And they go to that well 5 times. I mean, chintzy dialogue that you'd expect from a direct-to-video 1980s movie. That was disappointing. This was another one of those movies where it clearly was a victim of the cutting room floor. Oh, let's chop 15 minutes out so that it will show one more time during the day, so we'll get more showings that first week, in case it bombs, for one thing. So that's the way that worked out. The rest of the movie, you look at Pacific Rim, you look at the actors, you had Clint Eastwood's son. Clint Eastwood's son, one minute you feel like he's trying to imitate his dad, and then the next minute it seems like he's trying to be his own man. He's just not there yet. He's, to me, like a good 3rd or 4th level character on a TV show. He's not ready to carry a movie yet. I think he could get there. John Boyega had a lot of work to do. You didn't care about these people. You didn't care about these characters. It really felt like Independence Day 2. You know, Independence Day 2 tried to shoehorn in young people, all these young actors who didn't cost a lot of money, and they tried to force feed that rivalry. If you've seen Independence Day 2, where it was the Hemsworth kid who used to date Miley Cyrus and someone else, and they just tried so hard to make that a big deal, and it's like you never cared about that rivalry, never, not for a minute. And it's like, you know what? Give me more Judd Hirsch, not just because I'm older, but give me more Judd Hirsch. Give me Jeff Goldblum. I don't know. When they try to have youth movements in these movies, it's, you know, If you want to do like a second trilogy, what have you, you want to break young characters in, that's one thing. But this movie just didn't make you care about the end of the world. You didn't care about these Jaeger pilots. You had no sense of the loss of humanity. Big disappointment. And as much as I like to see a movie like that in IMAX, I didn't. So if you haven't seen it, you loved the first one, and you've kind of held off, or you made seeing Ready Player One a priority, just a little tip from yours truly. Wait for video. I think you'll be disappointed. I mean, it moves okay. They don't have the great music that they had in the first movie. I love the score of Pacific Rim, and you know, why not bring it back? And they had it at the end of the movie in the credits. I don't get it, but this thing just had it just had some Michael Bay moments. Let's put it that way. Had some Michael Bay moments, and then there was, let's just say, the bird is the word. Even Michael Bay wouldn't go so low to use the bird. Come on, that's. I mean, that's low rent script writing there, folks. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Pacific Rim 2. I think it was a stinky turd that belonged in the drift. Let's leave it at that. More reviews to come right here on this YouTube channel.